I'm begging you to stop calling yourself lazy, because if you don't, you're going to continue to stay stuck exactly where you are. You don't have a motivation problem. You don't even have a discipline problem. You've just trained yourself to avoid hard things for so long. You've just trained your brain to avoid anything that's uncomfortable. And if you don't fix this, you'll just keep starting over, which is the worst and hardest part. Let me explain what's happening here. In this situation, your brain is not your friend. It's not trying to help you in situations like this. It will not help you reach your goals. It's trying to protect you from effort, from discomfort, and protect you from failure. So every single time you say stuff like, I'll start tomorrow, I don't feel like it, I'm just too tired today, that's not you. That's your brain just trying to keep you safe. And I'll give you a real life example. Even just before filming this video, my brain was telling me the same thing. It was so hard for me to get out of my comfortable bed, laying in my bed with my wife, with my dog, with my cat, everything on me just right, my humidifier, my fan. There's going to be so many instances in your life when you're going to be comfortable and you're not going to want to move. But that's not you. That's your brain trying to keep you safe, but it also keeps you stuck. So because of this, I'm going to go over 3 points that are going to help you not be stuck anymore. The third one's the most important, that's helped me the most. And every single one of these is going to make a huge difference and impact in your life. Because I know you don't want to stay stuck forever. Real change starts to happen when the idea of staying the same is more painful than the change itself. So here's the real problem, and this is where most people get it wrong. Most people sit around just waiting for motivation, but it's like Dan Martell and a bunch of others say, you don't need motivation, you need momentum. That anxiety you feel before you start, like that tension and fight back in your chest, that's actually so much worse than the work itself. And I know this because I wrestled in high school. I felt that pain, that heaviness in my chest every single time before it was my match, while I was waiting to get on the mat and it was my turn. I feel it every single morning when I get up and I aim to go for a run for my workout schedule, for my marathon schedule. The anticipation before the thing is always worse than the thing itself. Your brain exaggerates the difficulty to prevent you from doing it at all. So you wait another day, another week, and then that turns into another year. You end up wondering why you're still stuck. Practice not listening to those comfort signals, to those signals that want you to stay where you are and not begin, and think too deeply about the whole thing you're trying to do. Just get out there. The quicker you take action, the better it's going to be. But how do you do this? This brings me to my second point. How do you break it? You don't go harder, you go smaller. 1 push-up, 1 walk, 1 squat, 1 better meal, 1 glass of water, 1 more hour of sleep, or 1 less hour of sleep, or 1 5-minute workout. Link to the playlist below. Because the goal is not to finish. The goal is to start. Once you start that action and you actually take action and show up, you've already won the hardest battle. This brings me to my third and most important point that has helped me everywhere in my life. It's something I call the micro habits method, inspired by James Clear's habit stacking method in Atomic Habits. I've realized to have any habit stick, you have to remove friction. The more friction you remove, the better. So in order to do that, you have to make it as easily accessible to you as possible. And a big way to do that is to make it short and to the point. How do you eat an elephant? You got to do one small bite at a time. So I'll give you an example. I have been working out. I have been able to maintain my body fat percentage and my weight within a 10-pound, give or take, range for about 20 years now. So pretty much my entire adult life. And the reason I've done that is with the 5-minute micro habit method. I used to be an avid exerciser. I still am, but in different ways than I used to be. I've been a certified personal trainer since 2015, used to work in the brick and mortar gyms, and then in 2018, I had to make a transition into the traditional 9-to-5 work landscape. And I did that because it was time to get a home, to really step up and work so I could support my family the way I needed to support them. But in doing so came sacrifices. I would no longer have that dream job of working in a gym. I would no longer have that time I needed to get the workouts I wanted to get in. I had to improvise and create my own schedule. And sometimes that was really difficult because it was like 60-hour work weeks. So I had to bring it to me. I had to make rules for myself. Like every time I had a 20-piece delivery, for example, because I was the delivery driver, I would drop and do 10 to 20 push-ups. And then over time, those added up. Or I would do in my morning routines, keep a pull-up bar by my washer and dryer. So every time I did a little laundry or a chore, I would hop up and do 10 pull-ups. Or every time I would do the dishwasher or the cat litter or bring my dog out or any other chore around the house, I would drop and do 10 push-ups. I would do this so regularly and automatically because I did it so often that I would end up just having, say, 100 push-ups and 50 push-ups done before I'd leave early in the morning, about 6 a.m. I did this for years, and it didn't feel like it. It didn't feel like I was doing much because it was so short. It was such short increments. This is just one example, but you could do this with food too. You could do one item that you add on. And I like adding on foods rather than taking away because it's not supposed to feel restrictive. It's supposed to feel like you're giving your body the real stuff that it needs to grow. But it can't be all or nothing, which is why I've named the method micro habits. I don't do it because it's easy. I do it because it removes the friction. It gets you moving before your brain has time to talk you out of it. And once you start moving, momentum takes over. Not motivation, momentum. And once you get momentum going, it's going to be that much better. Shout out to Ollie Carson. I love this example because it's true. You have an airplane. How much energy and resources and effort does it take for a plane to take off? A lot. How much of that does it take for a plane to stay in flight? Not much at all. Why? Momentum. Already did the hardest part. Now staying in the air doesn't take nearly as much effort. It's the same thing with these habits that you start. So to recap, you're not lazy. You've just practiced avoiding hard things for such a long time. I think Alex Hormozy says, like discipline, the real definition of discipline is doing the stuff that you don't want to do, that you're not good at, as opposed to doing the stuff you are good at that you don't want to do. So I'll give you an example. Like for somebody like me who exercises, it doesn't take much discipline to exercise every morning because it's stuff that I enjoy, as opposed to me doing something like painting or drawing or something artsy, right? That I'm not good at, that I really don't have an interest in doing. That would be real discipline, doing stuff like that every morning. Stay with me here. If you end up doing something that you really don't like for a long enough time, you're going to end up liking it because you're training your brain to enjoy the process. So with that said, if I were to be disciplined in that sense and start drawing every day and start doing art every day, I would start to enjoy it over time. I strongly believe that because exercising is something I enjoy. But when it comes to running, I've always hated running. And I ran my first marathon this past October. So it goes to show that regardless of what the task is, regardless of how much you dislike it in the moment, if you continue to do something, it's going to become that much easier every single time you show up because you didn't give up on it. And deep down in our brains, there is something that we get pleasure from that. We get pleasure from doing something hard, and that feeling of accomplishment takes over. And that feeling of accomplishment beats any feelings of the dread you feel when you don't want to start, that anticipation, that heaviness in your chest beforehand that I mentioned before. So instead of saying, I need to be more disciplined, start saying, I am somebody who acts when I don't feel like it. This is your identity shift, not perfection, not intensity, not restriction, identity. If you identify yourself as somebody who takes that action, as somebody who is that person you want to be, regardless of what your goal is, that's the biggest step. So if you've been stuck between starting and stopping in this whole limbo period of just thinking you're lazy and you don't have what it takes, or you just can't seem to get past that beginning point, you don't feel ready, this is your sign. Stop waiting. Do one small thing today. This video showed up on your feed for a reason. I'll put the application in the description so you can learn more about my one-on-one coaching, because that's exactly what I help people do. I coach lasting behavior changes and habit changes, and with that comes lasting health changes. When somebody also identifies as lazy, they also might feel tired all the time. So here's a video that explains exactly why you feel tired all the time. If you enjoyed this video and got something out of it, please leave a like because it's really going to help show it to more people who might need it. And if you made it this far in the video, you're a real one. Comment down below what topics you'd like to hear about next. I'm all about health, fitness, nutrition, and self-help. So any other ideas would be more than welcomed. Subscribe for more videos like this, and I'll see you guys in the next one.